أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I seek refuge in God from the rejected adversary. In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful. All right, welcome everyone. Today we're going to dive into something really fascinating, the anatomy of denial. You know how this deep human pattern can start as a tiny flicker of insecurity inside us, but then grow into this massive social force. We're drawing on some amazing material compiled by Mir Ali Shah for the Living the Wisdom of the Quran podcast. It's just such a profound look at how we, and sometimes whole societies, resist truth. And this quote right here, this is really the heart of it all. This is what we're going to unpack together. Think about it. How does a private, internal feeling of resistance, that little ego storm brewing inside, somehow manage to transform into a full-blown public policy of denial? And maybe even crazier, how does personal arrogance end up becoming a collective identity? So to really get a handle on this, we're going to explore it on two different levels. First, we'll look at the outer story, this really intense political drama that unfolded in ancient Mecca, as it's told in the Quran. But then, and this is where it gets really personal, we're going to turn that story inward and see how it's actually a perfect map for the battles happening inside our very own hearts. So you ready? Let's dive in. Okay, first up, the outer story, when denial actually becomes policy. We're starting with the external, the historical events. The Quran tells us about this moment when the message of one God arrived in Mecca, and let's just say the powerful elites were not having it. They immediately organized to shut the whole thing down. And what's just fascinating about this is how organized their denial was. This wasn't just some random disbelief, no. Classical commentators like Ibn Kathir and Tabari, they tell us this was a full-on political strategy. You see, the chiefs were terrified of losing their grip, their economic power, their social status. So what did they do? They launched a PR campaign. They started calling the prophet a sorcerer, a conspirator. They told people, hey, avoid the Quran, just walk away, don't even listen. And of course, they dismissed the whole message with that classic line of status envy. Wait, why him and not one of us? And this verse, wow. It just perfectly captures their entire argument. They took a spiritual message and twisted it into a direct political threat. Their whole message was basically, hey everyone, walk away. Stick with your gods, stick with what you know. This new thing, it's not about God. It's a conspiracy. It's clearly intended to take away our power. It's such a powerful and honestly a timeless political tactic, isn't it? Okay, but here's where we make the turn. This is the big question that changes everything. What if this whole outer drama, this story of Meccan chiefs and their propaganda, what if it isn't just a history lesson? What if it's actually a map of our inner world? So let's build that bridge from the outer to the inner. See, in our inner world, the chiefs aren't some guys in a council meeting. The chiefs are the dominant forces inside of us, our nafs. Think about it, that proud self-image we're always defending, those habits we never question, our deepest fears, that desperate need for control. These are the inner elites, the tribal leaders running the show inside the nation of our own heart. All right, let's go deeper. Section 2, the inner story, the heart as a nation. We're diving into the batin now, the inner, hidden meaning. This is where the Sufi masters look at these verses and they don't see history. They see a direct description of our own inner state, of the kingdom of the self. And what do you know? The strategy of our inner chiefs looks exactly like the one from the outer world. The great Sufi scholar Al-Qushayri puts it beautifully. He says, the chiefs are the lords of the nefs, those inner voices yelling at you to just keep things as they are. When they say walk away, that's your ego telling you, don't you dare let any new truth disturb my cozy little empire. And those gods we're supposed to stay loyal to? Oh, those are the illusions we worship every day. Control, reputation, certainty. It's just like Rumi said, when the ego hears a truth that threatens it, it feels its little crowns start to tremble, and so it just shouts, that's an invention. But believe it or not, we can go even deeper. So in many spiritual traditions, and the Sufi path is a great example, meaning isn't just in the stories, it's not just in the psychology. Sometimes it's believed to be encoded in the very letters and numbers of the text itself. Let's peel back one of these hidden layers together. Okay, let's zoom right in on that phrase the chiefs used, this is clearly intended against us. In the original Arabic, the key word there is yurad, which means it is intended. Now there is this ancient system called abjad numerology, where every Arabic letter has a specific number attached to it. And if we use that system, we can unlock a whole other layer of meaning here. So, pretty straightforward. The letters in the word Yurud correspond to the numbers 10, 200, 1, and 4. You add those up and you get 215. Now in this system, you can reduce that number by adding its digits together. So 2 plus 1 plus 5, and that gives us one single really potent number.
And that number is 8.
Now, this isn't just some random number. In this kind of interpretation, the number 8 represents structure, stability, but also rigidity. It's the perfect symbol for the ego's fortress, right? Those locked patterns we get stuck in. The very walls we build to keep ourselves safe are the same ones that keep the truth out. It's amazing. The very word they use for conspiracy numerically encodes the psychological state of being trapped in a rigid, defensive structure. And here's the kicker. This ancient wisdom maps perfectly on to what modern psychology is just now figuring out about denial. I mean, these verses are literally describing things like group cohesion theory, preferring to belong to the group rather than face the truth. They're describing the brain's natural threat response to destabilizing ideas. They're describing status anxiety, narrative defense. It's all there. Even shadow projection, accusing someone else of the very thing you won't face in yourself. The Quran laid out the entire blueprint for collective denial centuries and centuries ago. Modern science is just now catching up and giving it fancy names. So, where does that leave us? What does all of this actually mean for you and me today on our own spiritual paths? How do we take this amazing wisdom and bring it into our real lives? Well, this last part is a reflection for the seeker and all of us. So this is really the practical heart of it all. It's a call to become aware of that inner chief, right? That voice inside your head that whispers, walk away. This is too much. Just stay where you're comfortable. The real invitation here is to stay awake, to notice the sneaky little ways we defend our own personal gods, the god of pride, the god of comfort, the god of habit, the god of fear, and to make a conscious choice to walk towards the truth, especially when it feels like the most disruptive thing in the world. And so we'll close with this prayer, this munajat. It's just a quiet request for help in this very human struggle. O Lord of waking hearts, please dismantle the thrones within me. Break the idols I so desperately defend, and just make me brave enough to hear what disturbs me. Ameen. Thank you so much for joining me on this exploration.